So once the body is done, we will be working on finishing up the head. So we have that opening at the bottom where we flipped our head to be right side out. That's the hole we're going to use to stuff our head. So you're just going to take your stuffing and kind of break it up a bit, not too much at a time, and stuff it in through that hole. I like to do one side and then the other, so I normally do the front end of the cow and then the back part of the head. So you're just going to stuff that until it's the desired firmness that you want. You can have a really super squishy head, you could have a really firm head, you could have anything in between. I should mention that if you are using safety eyes for your animal, you should put those in before you stuff the head. You can use any size safety eyes. When I have used them in the past, I have used safety eyes that are at least 24 millimeters, but you can also use the really tiny ones, and that also gives you just a different look. I am going to needle felt my eyes on, so in order to do that, I need to have the head stuffed first. There is another tutorial available that shows you how to go ahead and needle felt eyes and different features onto plush animals. If you'd like to go to that link, you go ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and stuff my head, but if you are using safety eyes, you should put those in before you finish stuffing. So now my head is stuffed to the firmness that I like, and we have in the bottom that opening where we put our stuffing in that we need to close up. So I'm going to show you how to do a hidden stitch, or it's also called a ladder stitch. I like to take a double length of thread. You can use a single if you like, that's really personal preference. So I'm going to start at this end of the opening and work my way across from right to left. So I have put a knot in the end of my thread to begin with. That's just the way I like to do it. I'm going to go in right at the corner and not too far in from the edge. Pull that tight. And then I am going to loop around through a couple of times just to make sure my thread is secure. And this is at the bottom of the animal, so you're not going to see it once the head is sewn on. Plus the minky fabric does hide some of the stitching. So I've just looped around twice now. It's in there securely. So now to do the ladder stitch, what you're going to do is you're going to go in one side of the fabric and up maybe about 1/4 of an inch. And you're going to pull your thread through there. Then what you're going to do is go straight across to the other edge of the fabric. And you're going to put your needle in there and then go straight up 1/4 inch that way. And you're going to pull that through. And then you're going to go from the cow fabric back over to the pink, straight across horizontally, and then we're going to go up and down vertically. And then you're going to go back across, and you're just going to continue this pattern all the way down. So when we go across, we're kind of creating the rungs of the ladder, and then when we get into our fabric and we go up, we're creating the sides of the ladder. And as you go along and you pull it tight, you'll notice that your stitches do disappear. So you can see that I've sewn all of this part, but you cannot see any stitching on the outside of the fabric. So continue that the length of the opening. So now I'm at the end. When I get to the end, I just loop around several times and that secures my thread, and then at the very end I'll pull through and I'll pull my needle up anywhere on the surface of my animal and cut that off, and then that gives you a nice closing where you cannot see the stitching, and that's going to be hidden anyways because that's where we're attaching our head to our body. So I'm just going to loop around a few times through both fabrics. So that's nice and secure now. And then I'm going to go in again. So you're going in and out of the same holes each time you loop around. And I'm going to go in that one hole where I looped in, and I'm just going to push my needle through right here. And then I'm going to cut that thread, and that'll just disappear into the head of my animal. And now the head is all sewn up and closed. If you have your safety eyes on, your head is done. If not, like me, I'm going to go ahead and felt these eyes on now. So you can go ahead to the felting tutorial on how to make eyes or noses or paw pads, etc. for animals, plush animals. Now I'm going to show you how to attach the animal head to the animal body. This example is using a cow. You can use this technique for any of my heating pads or plush patterns. It's the same technique for all of them. My head to my animals, I like to use the slightly stronger thread. Just gives that little bit of extra strength. So this is the Gutermann thread, but it's the slightly thicker thread than the regular all-purpose thread. It is still 100% polyester. I just take a length of that. And I do put a knot in the end of my thread to start this because this is hidden inside the animal. So I'm just going to knot my thread a couple times. Nice secure knot there. Now I'm going to show you how to add any of my plush animal heads to a heating pad body. If you've made a plush animal, you can go ahead to the plush animal tutorial for adding a head. It's the same stitch, just a little bit of a different technique because you don't have access to the inside of the body. So this example is my cow plush head onto my body, but you can use this technique with any of the heating pad animals that you have made. So you want to go ahead and open up the body so that you have access to the inside. What you're going to do is take your finished head and kind of just place it where you would like it on your body. So you can have it back a bit, you can have it forward a bit. Sometimes you might want to have it looking off to one side. It's up to you as to how you would like to place it. Make sure though that it's not too far back, otherwise it will look silly once it's stuffed because it just won't be on the neck. It'll look really funny where the feet are. So I'm going to place my head in the middle, about right there, looking a little bit to the side. Then what I do is I just hold it in place, flip my cow over so I have access to the inside. I'm going to take my threaded needle and at the very top of the seam here, as high as I can get, I'm going to insert it and loop around. And I'm going to do that a few times to secure my thread, and that's the beginning of my sewing on of the head. So I go over the seam because I know that's the center line of the body, and that's about where the center of my head would be since I want my head to be nicely placed on the body. So once that's secure, what I'm going to do is just do a regular running stitch. And what I'm going to do is put it in a circle shape around like this, about where the neck would be on an animal if it had a neck. In this case, it doesn't. So I'm just going to do a running stitch all the way around over the seam, round and back up to where I started. So I'm going to go around once, and then I'm actually going to go around twice. So just in and out, and in and out. I make my stitches fairly large because I'm going around more than once. I find that it really does do a good job of securing the head on. You can go around as many times as you like. You can make your stitches whatever size you like. If you want to make really tiny stitches, you might only need to go around once. I like to go around twice just because it's what I've done, and I feel like it does a good job holding it on. So you can see now I've gone around, and you can see where I've gone in my circle. And now what I'm going to do is just go around that exact same path once more so that my head is nice and secure. As you can see, it's already pretty secure on there. I mean, I can hold my animal up by its head, no problem. But just to be double safe, I'm going to go around once more. So when you go in and out with your running stitch, you just want to make sure you're catching both the fabric of the body and the fabric of the head. You don't want to miss that head fabric. So now I've gone around twice. My head is really on there. You can give it a good tug. Nothing's moving. So just to add a little bit more security, what I do is I started right at the top where the seam is. So I'm just going to go down this seam doing a whip stitch just down the seam. Just adds a little bit more security. I mean, we don't really need it, but it helps to secure the thread. It helps to secure the head on. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Stitch down my seam here. Just gives it a nice finish. Then if any of the other stitches did happen to come out, you would still have this kind of backup so your head wouldn't fall off completely. When I get to the bottom of my neck circle, so I haven't gone past here, I'm still just at the bottom here, I'm just going to loop around 3 or 4 times, and that will secure my thread through the same holes each time. So 1 through the same hole down and through the same hole back up, 2, 3, and I lost my thread from my needle. And 4. So that's good and tight. That thread is not going anywhere. And then what I'm going to do is just go down again through that same hole and then up here. So I've just started here, gone underneath all the way up there. Pull that, and then I'm just going to cut it. And that's it. That's the head attached. So your heating pad is now complete, all ready to be loved and cuddled.